Well, one of the challenges we face, because of the Conservatives crashed the economy and the situation we're going to inherit, is that we won't be able to reverse everything that the Conservatives have done over the last 13 years.
If we can get past yesterday's business for the moment, did Keir Starmer talk to you about his proposed rule changes before the conference?
Millions of British workers now face a further pay cut, and his Chancellor is handing them a tax hike.
Angela Rayner's career timeline is full of contradictions. How did she go from claiming 7 years as a home carer to suddenly boasting 14 years in local government? In this explosive exposé, we unravel the web of inconsistencies in Rayner's work history. From her Who's Who entry to her campaign website, the numbers just don't add up. Are we dealing with innocent mistakes or calculated deception? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favour. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Angela Rayner's work history has become a tangled web of contradictions, leaving many voters scratching their heads. Let's unravel this mess and see if we can get to the bottom of her true career timeline. Rayner's Who's Who.
If we can get past yesterday's business for the moment, did Keir Starmer talk to you about his proposed rule changes before the conference?
That fears about inflation were unfounded, but working people across the country are starting the new year facing rising bills and ballooning prices. So how did he get it so wrong?
And that's normal in conference period. We're not happy unless we're talking about a rule amendment, a reference back or a compensating meeting. That's just the...
Entry paints a picture of a dedicated public servant, claiming she worked in local government and as a home help for a solid 7 years from 1998 to 2005. Sounds impressive, right? But hold on a minute. When we look at her 2014 candidacy website, suddenly the story changes. There, Rayner boasts of spending almost a decade in the caring profession. Now, I don't know about you, but last time I checked, 7 years doesn't quite add up to a decade. So what's really going on here? Well, thanks to a Freedom of Information request, we now have access to official council records that shed some light on this murky situation. And let me tell you, the truth is far from what Rayner would have us believe. According to these official records, Rayner's career as a home help was significantly shorter than she's led us to believe. In fact, she only worked in that capacity for a measly 6 months in 1998. Then there's a mysterious gap before she returned to the field for a 5-year stint from 2000 to 2005. Now, I'm no mathematician, but even I can see that this doesn't add up to the almost a decade Rayner claimed on her candidacy website. It's more like half that time. And what about those missing years between 1998 and 2000? What was Rayner up to during that period?
The house building that I'm proposing at the start of conference that we'll be announcing more this week is about actually giving people secure futures and making sure that we can tackle things like child poverty. Well, I'm not going to discuss what happened at the private meeting of the NEC.
But that is the case.
But one of the things that I'm concerned of, and I always have been, and I've stood on the platform, is that we are able to diversify our candidates. Well, one of the challenges we face, because of the Conservatives crashed the economy and the situation we're going to inherit, is that we won't be able to reverse everything that the Conservatives have done over the last 13 years.
But wait, there's more. Lord Ashcroft's biography of Rayner drops another bombshell about her career timeline. It turns out that the discrepancies in Rayner's work history go beyond just the length of her time as a home help. The biography reveals even more surprising details about her early career that contradict her public statements. So why does this matter? Well, when our political leaders can't even keep their own career histories straight, it raises serious questions about their credibility. How can we trust them to manage the complex affairs of our country when they can't even accurately recount their own work experience? Just when you thought Angela Rayner's career timeline couldn't get any more confusing, it takes an even more bewildering turn. Remember those 7 years of service she claimed? Well, brace yourself for a mathematical marvel that would make even Einstein scratch his head. In a 2020 Facebook post celebrating her election victory, Rayner suddenly doubled her time in local government, claiming a whopping 14 years of service. Wait, what? 14 years? But didn't she previously state it was only 7? And let's not forget the official records that show a mere 5 years. It's like watching a magician pull an ever-lengthening handkerchief from their sleeve. Except this time, it's years of work experience materialising out of thin air. But hold on to your calculators because we're not done yet. During the council house sale controversy in March 2019, Rayner outdid herself once again. She implied she had spent an astounding 17 years as a home carer. 17 years! At this rate, we might soon hear about her decades-long career in the care sector, starting from the tender age of 5.
So, another Labour Party tradition, the two of you clearly didn't disagree because you put forward a separate amendment to his proposal at the NEC.
Millions of British workers now face a further pay cut, and his Chancellor is handing them a tax hike.
We had our NEC, which passed and approved some proposals that are going to go to conference floor, and that's how we do things in the Labour Party.
So how does a politician manage to stretch 7 years of work into nearly 2 decades? The answer might surprise you, and it's not quantum physics. It's a little-known concept called facility time. This arrangement allows union representatives to take paid leave to focus on union duties. Sounds innocent enough, right? Well, not when it's used to inflate one's work history. According to Lord Ashcroft's biography, this facility time arrangement suggests that Rayner's actual time spent as a carer may be significantly less than her public claims. It's like claiming you've worked a full shift when you've spent half the day in the break room. Sure, you were physically present, but were you really doing the job you're claiming credit for? The implications of these varying timelines on Rayner's credibility are staggering. It's one thing to round up your years of service for simplicity's sake, but it's quite another to more than double them. This isn't just a case of misremembered dates or fuzzy math. It's a pattern of inflated claims that raises serious questions about Rayner's integrity and honesty. As scrutiny mounts on Angela Rayner's career claims, we're left grappling with a broader issue, the widening chasm between political narratives and reality.
Inflation is about to hit 6%. That's the highest rate since the early 90s, when the Conservatives have been in power for over a decade.
Normal hustle and tussle of what we do at conference. So yeah, you know, he wanted that consultation, he wanted that discussion. But we've had 13 years of Conservative failure, a crashed economy, so we're going to inherit a very difficult programme if we were lucky enough to win the next general election, and therefore we're realistic about what we're able to achieve, but we will change Britain for the better.
It's not just about one politician's embellished CV. It's about the erosion of public trust in our leaders. When carefully crafted stories start unravelling, voters are left questioning everything they've been told. Rayner's case is a stark reminder that in politics, even small discrepancies can snowball into credibility-crushing avalanches. It begs the question, how many other politicians are peddling polished versions of their past? As voters, we're not just choosing policies, we're buying into personal stories. But if those stories are built on shaky foundations, what does that say about the integrity of our political system? This isn't about partisan point scoring. It's about demanding transparency across the board. The next time a politician waxes lyrical about their real-world experience, remember Rayner's shifting timeline. Ask yourself, what's lurking beneath the surface of that perfectly polished political persona? In an era of spin and sound bites, maybe it's time we all became a bit more sceptical of the stories our leaders are selling us.